Meanwhile, the Baylor men's basketball team, you may have heard, ICYMA, in case you missed it, they won the national championship a few weeks ago in men's basketball, and been curious to kind of see how their roster situation would play out. I mean, in the immediate aftermath of the title, it was a celebration, and then it was, the inevitable decisions of guys like Davion Mitchell and then Maceo Teague. Matthew Meyer decides to enter his name into the draft to test the waters. Haven't heard much since then. Obviously Jared Butler's a guy you wonder about the NBA draft and what's going to happen with him. But that leaves some spots to fill, and maybe even more potentially than are on paper right now. And, the guard spot obviously was especially good for Baylor last year. Well, they added to the guard spot, and they added to the future last week with a transfer. In the transfer market, as much as it might be a frustration at times in football, it has been a godsend for the basketball program, as they seem to know how to work that transfer portal and find the guys that can fit into what they like to do. So Scott Drew and staff hit the transfer portal once again, and this time it was Dale Bonner from Fairmont State, who was the next to announce he would be heading to Waco, Texas. So Dale Bonner, we had him on Sikkim 365 radio last week. Obviously, Grayson James Akinjo from Arizona was somebody that had already previously mentioned he would be heading to Baylor. So your thoughts on Dale Bonner joining the ranks of the Baylor men's basketball program?
Yeah, another D2 guy. It's really interesting to see that. I think Freddie Gillespie was even D3, if I'm remembering correctly on that. But it's interesting to see them kind of scouting that. I don't feel like a lot of teams do that and take the time to really go and try to find those hidden gems who might be putting up huge numbers at a lower level. And Dale Bonner, 21 points per game, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 steals, shot 44% from 3. His team was pretty good this year. I think they went something like 15-5 or something. So pretty good year. He's 6'3", 175 pounds, a combo guard to me. So kind of similar to a Jared Butler. I'm not saying his game's similar, but his position is going to be very similar to Jared Butler. He'll bring up the ball sometimes, but mostly will play off the ball, utilized in a lot of one-on-one pick and roll type game, which is what Baylor's really excelled at. So I really like this pickup for Baylor. I watched his film. It's just one of those films where you go, how in the world was this guy Division II? I mean, it's just crazy. His athleticism, his speed, the fact that he shot 44% from 3, a very, very solid all-around player, and a guy who I think is going to greatly benefit from not having to play this year. I mean, he's just going to be a guy that they're going to really just kind of put in the pressure cooker and allow him to just kind of grow and become stronger, become a better player, go up against these great guards, go up against Adam Flagler every single day and LJ Cryer, and just really mold his game. And I do think that Dale Bonner's got an opportunity to be very solid at Baylor. And I know Division II has that weird stigma to it where it goes, man, this is a weird pickup for Baylor. What are they doing? This is the national champs. Why would they do this? But they've had so much success with this that when they see a talented guy like this who they think they can mold, I mean, why not go and add a guy like that? And I think, like I said, I think this year off for him, I think he'll probably come in and not be ready to play. I think he'll have an adjustment period, very much so, going up against a different kind of talent. But I do think you give him a year, he's going to be very, very good. I really like this pickup, and he becomes what I believe the 5th new addition to the roster going into next year, along with James Akinjo and, of course, 5-star freshman forward Kendall Brown, 4-star guard Langston Love, and 4-star forward Jeremy Sohan. So a very, very good group of guys that are going to be joining Baylor in Waco very soon.
Yeah, the thing is they're going to have to, all that new is fun, but, it also means that is going to take some time to build that chemistry. Now, luckily, they'll have a bunch of guys around still who, know what it's like, know what it takes to win a championship, even though, some guys will be moving on. But, yeah, how fast can they develop chemistry? And, and kind of all be on the same page. But yeah, it's exciting to see, so many new faces, and that roster is taking shape, and it ought to be awfully interesting to see how they follow up with next year's campaign, because it's not like they're expecting some massive drop off. I mean, they're expecting to keep on winning and continue winning at a high level and continue competing for championships. So we'll see, where he plays into things as we go along here. But yeah, in a couple years is probably when you'll see the biggest impact from the newest addition to Baylor basketball.